Alright, I want to address a comment I keep seeing here on Make Weird Music, and in some of the social media forums I'm in. Many people are afraid to say it outright, but a few special people have concisely narrowed it down to 3 close-minded words. And they are, new music sucks. Now when I or others dig in and ask for more information, like what actually sucks or whether it's just a few artists, these people will literally say that all music since their favorite decade sucks. Now I have 3 main points I'd like to get across in this video in response to this foolishness. First, I want to plainly state that not only are these people completely wrong, but their attitudes are antithetical to the mindsets they had decades ago when they found their favorite bands. Second, I want to show the harm this mentality has on the future of the very small music niche many of us seem to cherish. And third, I want to highlight some young new artists who are blowing the doors down and releasing some fantastic new music. So let's get to it. Point number 1, new music does not suck, and anyone who thinks so is either willfully limiting their exposure or just doesn't know where to find out about good new music. If you need some help treasure hunting, I highly recommend you follow us on Facebook. Now I'm not saying this so we get more followers or something like that. My teammate, Coulter McCorkindale, is frequently sharing stuff that I've never seen before. I'll be browsing Facebook on my personal account and come across something awesome that makes me go, wow, and it happens to be from Make Weird Music. Now I'm a follower too. I am so grateful our team has a guy like Coulter who has his ear to the ground. We also have a fantastic global community of people who share links on our Facebook posts. I know we usually attract open-minded people, many of whom are fans of prog rock, which is great because I love that too. But I think some people forget that the whole point of the original progressive movement was to push musical boundaries by incorporating unexpected instruments, referencing literature in lyrics and art, and making people think. In those early days, what some people are calling the glory days of music, there was so much new ground to cover. Every Gentle Giant album or a Henry Cowell concert seemed mind-blowing back then, and ears were opening. Well, guess what? That is still happening today. It's just not as easy to find. There's no longer a standout album cover on a shelf that gets your attention and makes you run home to play it. Instead, we have marketing and design teams working hard on every release, and the competition for ears and dollars is fierce. So you're going to have to try harder to find new, exciting music. In other words, if you think new music sucks, that's on you. Not the musicians or the music industry or Gen Z. There's more noise than ever, but there's far more signal too. As my teammate Andre Chumley said, there's always bad music on the charts, and there's always great music. Alright, point number 2. Anyone who thinks new music sucks is doing more harm than good for the music and the musicians they love. So many of these glorified bands from the 70s, 80s, and 90s are practically forced to play their classic albums because even they have a hard time selling new records with new music. It's nearly impossible to resist the nostalgia of the fan base, especially when it pays the bills. So saying music used to be good is a self-fulfilling prophecy that reinforces negativity and unrealistic expectations. We need more curiosity and not less. The world as a whole, even politically and economically, would be so much better off if people were open and appreciative about what is new and different. I'll borrow from Robert Fripp for a moment and say, the way we experience music is the way we live our lives. So do we really want music to stay the same as it was in the previous century? When I made a video about the Zappa hologram tour, I was literally asked if I was a Nazi. Tons of people who don't even know Frank personally have told me that he would have hated me. Why? Because I was featuring an effort by his son to modernize something they held sacred? Because someone has gotten caught up in drama they really know nothing about? Give me a break. The world is better off with more Frank Zappa music, in whatever form we can get it. I also did a video encouraging young people to stop listening to so much old music and check out new stuff. So many people interpreted that idea in the most absurd and ignorant way possible. Make Weird Music has interviewed or featured so many strange artists from the past 50 plus years, yet people think I'm trying to dunk on old music like it's a waste of time. Many of these artists have told me that they love their old music, but wish the fans would listen to the new stuff too. And you wouldn't begin to believe the garbage my friends Cedric Hendrix and Thomas Hatton have gotten in their recent posts about hip-hop and rap. Like, that can't be weird too. Some of these comments got me so angry, I'm now planning several videos about weird hip-hop artists just to get people to open their ears and minds some more. Make Weird Music features artists that aren't afraid of alienating their listeners. We'll never be a channel with 1 million followers. I mean, it's astonishing we even have 20,000, but that's beside the point. We love artists who prioritize authenticity and artistic exploration over everything else. And a majority of our community loves that too. These are the people who love creative expression more than reliving memories from years ago. They demand that their favorite artists follow their instinct, regardless of the result. We need more people asking artists to continue moving their artistry forward, not keeping it the way that we remember it. All right, point number 3. There are countless amazing young musicians making astonishing music. You really should check them out. Here are just a few selections from young artists that we've highlighted in the past couple of years. I've personally found these releases as astonishing as any 20th century brain changer. Esperanza Spalding's 12 Little Spells, Medieval Babes, Prayers of the Rosary, Buchan Gase's Scholars, Man Man's Dream Hunting in the Valley of the In-Between. Bent Knee's last few albums have been incredible, and everyone in the band is putting out amazing new music, especially Courtney Swain, Ben Levin, and Jessica Kion. Evil Genius's Bitter Human, Charlie Kaywood's The Divine Abstract, fantastic album. Crystal Beth's Episodic Memory, Travis Orban's Finite Complete, Lewis Cole's Time, The Moulettes' Xenolalia. I mean, you might think these are the occasional diamonds in the rough, but let me assure you, I don't even have the time to feature half the music that breaks my brain. New music. It took me less than 5 minutes to think of these examples, and I haven't even mentioned artists who are in their 40s, 50s, or older who are still shaking the tree. There is so much great stuff out there, and it's coming out every single week. You just have to search for it. Or join the Make Weird Music community and take a look at our Bandcamp Friday posts, where everyone's sharing all this incredible, brand new music. Now, as I was writing this and discussing it with my team, Coulter said, I think it's harder for older folks who've heard everything to be impressed again like they were 14. Even as a relentless digger myself, I'm still chasing that high, and I just don't get it as often as I did when I was younger. That's just the nature of neurochemistry and culture. I think that's a great point. And then Cedric Hendrix said, there used to be 1,000 bands selling 1 million records. Now there's 1 million bands selling 1,000 records. Now that means we actually need tools, techniques, and the desire to find something new. Honestly, there's just so much phenomenal music coming out nowadays, and we have access to an international music scene. Look at Moon June Records, and stuff from all over the planet. People have access to the internet, and they're posting new stuff and innovating in every corner of the world. And we have these incredible computing devices in our pockets, making all that accessible in an instant. Just tap it. So let me be clear, this rant isn't about getting with the times or throwing out your rose-colored glasses. This is about denying a fundamental reality that great music is being made by a new generation of musicians every single day. Let's continue to love the music we grew up with while appreciating the beauty and the joy of the here and now. We need to stop demoralizing weird musicians since we're in this new decade and music has changed. So help us out in the comments. Tell the world what artists are doing amazing things today. Tell us about new music you love. Tell us how you're discovering new artists. And thanks a lot for checking out this rant. If you want more of this kind of commentary, let me know. And if you want less, I'm sure I don't even have to ask. All right, see you in the next one.